Several weeks ago, Mark and Esther had a conversation about getting some projectors that were brighter and clearer. And Mark researched it and found them. And Esther said, order them. They cost as much as a car. Depends on your car. But let them know. Find out if they're available, because we want them in a timely manner. And so Mark did that, and Esther felt a little uneasiness about it. Why? Because she's been focused on supply chain shortages. So she's got that going on, stuck in her vibrational craw. And so she has this feeling that they might not come, an opinion, and something in her makes her want to make that opinion right, even though she wants the new projectors to come. You following? So she says, okay, go ahead and order them, but let's make sure that they're going to get here on time. So then they find out that they're not going to get here on time. And Esther's saying to herself in that justifying mode, what good's a guidance system if it doesn't show you stuff that's important? So now she's defending her guidance system. Even though she wants the projectors to come, she's defending, I knew they weren't going to come. Now she's mad at the people who told them they were going to come. Oh, but that's not enough. Now she's really got to double down. I think they knew they weren't going to come. And that's what my guidance system was all about. They knew, and I knew. Are you hearing this? Even though she wants the projectors to come, she's doubling down on them not coming. She's assigning motive to why they didn't make it. And she's holding herself in a vibrational frequency that if something doesn't change, they're never going to get here. Well, Mark's positive thought will get them here eventually, but not without a lot of struggle imposed by Esther, who would rather be right than have the projectors. Are you sort of getting the sense? We're exaggerating it a tiny little bit. And so that's what this new process is, because you're doing it without even knowing you're doing it. And in this case, it was some company, in other words, supply chain is sort of slowed down. There are some things that you can't get, but it is the demonizing of it or the trying to point fingers at it that makes you be a perpetuator of what you don't want, a protester against what you don't want instead of an advocate for what you do want. That's really the easiest way to hear it. Did you hear it?
So what I'm wondering is, with everything that I'm doing, what else can I either add in or should I do less of? Like, should I try and calibrate most things that happen that seem to have strong momentum and
be as
resistance?
specific as you can be and still feel good. And keep the emphasis as you are keeping it on releasing resistance when you're aware that you have it. And this is the new piece for you. That's why we gave it to you with such emphasis, because you're a teacher. You want to get it right. You want to show off your skills at being a good teacher. Everybody who's a good teacher wants to do that, but it's got to be all right with you that you're teaching calibration in real time.
What I'm noticing is that when I was sitting in the chair and something would come up that felt like an old energy that that felt like something negative, my instinct was, because I was already feeling so good and being here, and because I wanted to stay in the vortex, my instinct was just to completely ignore it and just not give it any attention.
Well, let's talk about something here first. Every subject is two subjects. So when you really feel good, the other end of the stick is activated about sometimes you haven't felt good. In other words, it's just all part of it. So don't make a big thing about that. You're kind of making a big thing about that in your wanting to discern it and in your wanting to define it. Don't make a big thing about it. In every moment that you want something, what you don't want is in the vicinity somewhere, because you can't even know what you do want without knowing what you don't want. So there's this constant thing that you are synthesizing, that's moving, it's dynamic all the time, and you just want to lean in the direction of what you want. And the more you do that, the easier it is to do that. That is the easiest way to define that. There's no right or wrong, and you're still hung up on that. You want to be a deliberate creator, and you don't want to create by default. And you want to be on the upper half of the emotional scale, and you don't want to be on the lower half of the scale. And we want it to be all right with you whether you're on the upper half or the lower half, whether you're in step 1 or step 3, because you're figuring it all out just like you intended to do, and nothing's going wrong here.
We just went on a trip to this beautiful place called Salt Spring in BC, and my intention was for it to be this beautiful kind of pre-paving for Abraham, and just like such a blissful experience from start to finish. And it was the first 2 days were just completely ridiculous, where these terrible things started happening, and not terrible, but these things happened that were just so not normal for me. And I don't usually attract things like that.
So feel this. Did that stuff happen? Yeah. But feel how you're doubling down. Not normal for me. I should have done better. What was going on? In other words, trying too hard. Just let life come to you and do your best, and then let life come to you and do your best to feel good in it. And don't be so determined to always get it right, because things are evolving. We really want you to hear this. If it's true, and it is. If it's true, and it is. If it's true, and it is, that everything is always working out for you, then isn't a moment of negative emotion like that part of it always working out for you? And isn't it logical that someone with big intentions, big dreams, strong determination to be a deliberate creator, isn't it logical that you would turn up the heat a little bit and define things in a little stronger way and give yourself more opportunities to come into that place of things being all right? Because if there's anything that is beneficial for you to know and teach, it's that unconditional love means I like myself no matter what condition I'm standing in. And I'm less and less likely to demonize the condition too.
And that's what happened. Is I spent the first day thinking, gosh, like this stuff hasn't happened to me for a long time, and what's the lesson? What am I supposed to learn? And I felt very frustrated, and it kind of came to me through a crack of momentary saneness, and I just got that this was about me learning to be unconditional and to not let the conditions affect me, and things happen, and it's okay. And as soon as I thought that, my whole rest of the trip was amazing. Normal. It was perfect.
And that nothing's going wrong.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine.
So Esther has a friend who moved to Colorado. She and her partner purchased a ski lodge that was for cross-country skiing, flatland, not surrounded by, but on 2 sides, national forest. And Jerry and Esther went to visit them. And she said, there's so much to be afraid of up here. I had to give some of it up. And Esther remembers feeling that sort of release of struggle in her when she said that. Well, you all are living in exaggerated times, not exaggerated times of stuff that you don't want happening with more proliferation. We don't mean that. Exaggerated in that there are more eyes on it and more people talking about it. There have been far other times in your history. There were far more treacherous feeling places that you were standing. But never before have there been so many people focused upon things that they don't want. And as a result of that, think about what that means. Can you feel with us the enormity of your vortices, or of your collective consciousness vortex, with all that knowing what I don't want, all that attention to what I don't want? And what's really interesting about it is it's people on different sides of every issue, all knowing what they don't want. and launching rockets of desires about what they do want. And every one of those reasons that they want what they want, even though they oppose each other on all those subjects, every single reason for what they think they want or what they do want is because they believe they would feel better in it. So think about this vortex, this collective conscious vortex, and the summoning of feeling better that is there for planet Earth. And now, notice if you can, all those billions, can't find the right number, of inner beings that are focused there on the solutions and on the true root asking, and feel the calling of source energy, summoning everyone to their satisfaction, to their in-loveness, to their appreciation, to their well-being. So you get all of that. But this is the piece that you're introducing into this conversation that is so important. It's the tipping point. It's the letting go. It's there's so many things to worry about, I'm exhausted. There's so many things to worry about, I'm just not going to focus on it. I'm just going to let it go because I'm starting to understand I can't fix that, and I can't fix that, and I can't fix that. Hear this. You may not like these words, but we're going to say them anyway. No one can save you. No one can save you. Because, first of all, you're not broken and you don't need to be saved. But most important, you are the attractor of your own experience. And so there are 2 points that we're really wanting to help you to feel. One is, give up the battle of trying to find somebody to swoop in and figure it out, and stop demonizing them when they don't, because it was never their job and the universe doesn't allow it. Law of attraction doesn't work that way. You cannot get someone to save you. You have created a vortex, a collective consciousness vortex, and your source energy is all over it, and well-being is being gathered in abundance and in proportion and in ways that we can't even define, in a way that your ears can hear it. And all you have to do as an individual, all you can do as an individual, is stop pushing against and demonizing someone, yourself or someone else, and step into that attitude of love, and let the well-being that you collectively want and that you collectively deserve be dominant for a while. And that's what a paradigm shift is. That's what you're upon. That really is what you all said you wanted when you came. You said, I'll go and like others, I'll mix it up, I'll mess it up, I'll push and I'll pull, but most of all, I'll decide. And what are you deciding? Not that that's right or that's wrong, or that I'm right and you're wrong. What you're deciding is, this feels good to me, and feeling good to me is what I prefer. Love feels so much better than hate. I choose love at every level of my being. And yet, in your demonization and trying to fix things, there are so many who are in an attitude of hate, pushing against what they do not want, with a total misunderstanding. They think if they can push hard enough against what they think they do not want, that they will be left in the absence of that. Law of attraction does not work that way. There's no assertion. There's just attraction, you see. Just your attraction. Doesn't have to do with the border guards. Doesn't have to do with whoever is sending or not sending the projector when Esther wants it. Doesn't have to do with anything that you think that it has to do with. It has only to do with your deciding that you want it, and you finding a way to let in what you want. If you really believed us, you'd clap your hands and say, I got it, and you'd all leave.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.